Hello and how are you? My name is Mahindo Bark and I welcome you to our 14th lecture of mastering Flutter UI. As you know, we always do 40 minutes, so I'll go ahead and start our timer. In today's lecture, we're going to look at how we can do different kind of lists, user interfaces, and with good programming practices. So with that much time, with that much said, let's go straight into today's business and we start implementing what we've just said. All right, so this is our project that we always use to demonstrate with. I hope you can see it. So what I've done, I've just launched it to my emulator, and if you remember clearly, this is the last thing that we did in the previous video. So if this is your first video, I recommend you to follow the previous videos that we've been demonstrating or that we've been teaching. If you want to start from here, then you have to download first the Scratch project, and the link is in the description of this video. So you download that project, and after downloading it or after cloning it, you put on your computer. So the remaining examples, you'll be able to do it to get something that is familiar to this. So the advantage of that project, it comes with source code that gives you the assets that you will not need to again suffer with the assets such as images, constants, models. So for us, so that the work that we'll be concentrating on should be the user interfaces. So let's go ahead and start. So I'll assume that you have this project on your computer and you're ready to go do it to get started. All right, so today we're going to look at lists. So I'll go ahead and open our demonstration application. Hope it's on this app. It's on the other app. All right. Let me compile it. So we are going to look at how we can do different kinds of lists. So this is what we're going to do, a basic list, how you can do such kind of a list, okay? And someone can click and you're able to tell where someone has clicked. So we'll do section list, where we have a section and then display different kinds of data on that list. We'll go ahead and do a list so you can have an expanding, where I can click and then expand. Also, we'll go ahead and do a list where you can be able to do what? To drag, like this one, where you can move the user to another level and also move this one to this level. A list where you can drag items. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a list where you can swap an item like this, and that item gets disappeared. Okay, so you can implement that feature in different ways. So we'll do that list also. Then we'll also do the list which can support multi-selection, or can support more than one item. Also, we'll do a list of such kind, like a news application. Then also I'll leave you with the challenge of doing a list like this one if I finish the other one, and also a challenge of doing a list like this one if I'll have finished the other ones. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. So we have a lot of things to do together, right? So without wasting much time, I'm going to launch here our application. No, this isn't the one that I always follow. Okay, then stop this one. Then we start without wasting much time. Let's start. Okay, so this is application. Okay, this application. So we are starting real business right now. Our timer is showing 35 minutes. So 5 minutes were just for introduction and explain what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and do now serious business. So we're going to create a section for the what? For the list here. So we'll come to our menu here and then create another section for the what? For the list. So I'll come here and copy this and create another section called lists. Okay, and then you can change the icon, put the icon of list there if you want to. So after doing that, so the next thing we're going to put now an item that is going to navigate us to the list. So I'll come here and call this one lists. All right, so after doing that, we are going to go ahead and create now the list user interface itself. Okay, the basic list. We are going to begin by creating this list, this one here. Lists. We're going to begin by creating this basic list. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to create a special category, a special folder for the screens of lists. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll come here to screens and then create new directory. I'm going to call it lists. Okay, so in this list, I'm going to put list basics. So I'll come here and say new file. So I'm creating now the screen of the list basics. So I can say lists basic. Okay, .dat. So this is the screen itself. All right, so after doing that, the next thing we're going to put now the real list of that here. So we'll go ahead and collapse and then we go to where this is, and I'm going to start explaining everything. Okay, let me first put just a stateless widget, a stateful widget that I'm going to call lists basic. Then after doing that, we'll go ahead and import. Remove this key. We rename this list basic. All right, so after I can come here and put a placeholder of text. I believe everyone can do this. So after doing that, so we're going to link this list to our main screen so that someone should be able to click and then move to this list. So we'll come to our main screen. This is the one. I'll go ahead and remove this and put lists and I import it. So after doing that, now if someone click on these lists, you should be able to do what? Wait. When someone clicks on what? On this list, it should be able to be taken to the what? To the basic list. This one is called basic list. Okay, so when I click here, I should be able to be taken to this basic list item. All right, so this is where the class is. All right, so that's where we're going to start from now, creating a what? Our list. So I'll come here to our screens or the routes, and then I come to where I put the lists here, and then basic list is here. All right, so after doing that, now let's go ahead and start designing the what? The real list there. Okay, so the first that we're going to do, what? We're going to create a scaffold. Okay, scaffold first. So I'll come here and put scaffold. So you return here and put scaffold. All right, so after putting the scaffold, we'll have something beautiful like that. Okay, let me first disable Copilot because it is giving me the answers before. All right, so after putting the scaffold, so the next thing we're going to put the up bar. So everyone knows how to put the up bar on this scaffold, and then me, I'll import mine. You can also design your own up bar in that way, and then just keep on importing it. All right, so after putting the up bar, so the next thing that we're going to do, we're going now to put the what? The list body itself. Okay, so this list is, the body is going to be a list adapter, list basic adapter that we're going to give the items and also the on click listener and then say .get view. All right, so I mean that these are the variables that we must have at first before we do what, we start creating the list. So you need the list items. So this list item can be your list data from the API or from anywhere. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get the context first. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create the list items. So I come here in this class and I create the list item. So according to the project that I gave you, it should be able to give you a model of people and also a dummy that can get for you people. Okay, so this dummy, you know what it does? Just generates some random list of people. So in simple terms, this is nothing but a model called people. So if I press Ctrl and click on it, it will take me to the class. Okay, it has taken me to the class that I created here in these models. So you can create your own model if you want. Okay, so you see, this is nothing but a class called people, and this people is having a string, is having a name, is having the image, the name, the email, and and whether it is a section. So if it's a section, it is true. If it's not section, it is false by default. And then it has a constructor called people.section, and then it will pass the name of a section and also the name of whether it is a section or not. All right. So these are the two constructors that it does. So you can either take an empty constructor or it takes this constructor that will pass a section. So that is our simple model of a list, of a person object. So I'll go back to our list. So here we have dummy.getPeople. So this is where you can now do the logic of getting your data from the internet or from the API, and then you get this data and destroy these items. But here I created this class called dummy. It will generate for you some dummy data. So in the project that I told you that you download, you'll be able to get this item. So when you press dummy.getPeople, you'll see it is a static method inside the let me open this. See, it is a static method inside a class called a class called the dummy. So I prepared these things so that we don't suffer in doing in regenerating this dummy data. So it is just a class called dummy, and it can return for you some dummy data. So I press dummy.getPeople.data. You see, it is just a static method inside that class of dummy that is returning a list of people which has the name called getPeople.data. So when you open this method, it is list people, so it is a list of people, and then say items, which is nothing. Okay, so after doing that, I create a loop. So it is for each loop, it is going to get an integer beginning from 0 up to the length of people that you may need. Okay, and then after I++. Okay, so it's going to loop. So as it is looping, it is creating an object of a person, and then it gets an image of that person. It gets a random name. You see, I have a constant called people's names. So if let me take you there, you see, it is just a list of constant called people's names. Okay, so you can also see how it is. So it is creating a random of people's name, and then also the email, and then after creating this object of people, of a person, it adds it in this list of items. So after looping here, after the loop, it shuffles them so that they should not be the same. It creates a random logic, like it is shuffling. This is what called shuffling. So after shuffling them, and then returns for you the list. So if you call this method, it will generate for you the dummy data of random users. Okay, so in this case, it can be now your users from internet or but for us, we're just concentrating on on the API, on the user interface. So here we are getting the data of users, and I hope you've understood that. Call these items. So I've explained what this class meant and what this get data meant. So after doing that, the next thing, you're going to now add more items in this this item. So you just simply say items.add all, and then you say get item.add all, and then let me see. So it is in the build. So let us put in the build. Let's put it here so that every time it should be random. Item.get all. So you add more people like 3 times. You can even add as many as you want. So it is getting like more people like 3 times as it is making a shuffle, and then add them in this list. Okay, if you want, you can even shuffle again from here. So this list should be totally Should be totally different. Okay, so this is how we're getting a what? We're getting a dynamic list. So after getting a dynamic list, then it means that we have now data that we can display, and I've explained what is meant by everything here, so you should be understanding. Now we have the data that we can display. So after, now we're going to create our what? Our adapter. So the adapter, it is the one that is going to be responsible of organizing that data and display it in a what? In a screen. You can create your own list builder here. You can create your own list builder, by the way, here, and then display these things automatically without even creating an adapter. But it's a good practice. If you want to keep your things clean, you better create a what? An adapter. Okay, so this adapter will be responsible for displaying the data in your what? Into the screen, so you can reuse it again and again. So the body here now of this what? Of this scaffold is going to be our adapter. Okay, so we're going to create a class called list basic adapter. That's the class that we're going to create. So this class is responsibility is going to be an adapter that will be responsible for displaying this kind of data on the screen. So if you create this adapter, you can even reuse it on different what? On different kind of screens. Okay, so that's the advantage of what? Of creating things in form of what? In form of modularized architecture. So let's go ahead and create this adapter. So that you don't now know the meaning of that adapter. Its responsibility is to do what? Is to display the data on the screen. All right, so let's go ahead and create that adapter. So creating an adapter can be boring, but once you learn how to create one, then it will be very simple for you. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. What I'll do, I'll come here to our to our project, and then I come here to where there's adapters, and then I create a new a new file. Okay, right click here and say new file. Okay, on this file I pressed and they say list basic adapter, and they say .dat. So in this adapter, it is how going to put the content that you are going to be using to display the data of a list. Okay, so you can go ahead and create a class called adapter. So let's go ahead and create it. So it's going to be class called adapter, and remember, once you create one adapter, the later you can just be duplicating, copy and paste them, and just modify where you want. Okay, you can create one, and then in the rest of your project you just be modifying them. Okay, or if you want, you can just display the list directly in the scaffold if you want to. All right, so we're going to create now a class here for the adapter, and I've told you the meaning of adapter is to display the data. We give it the data, and then that's the logic of displaying it separately. Okay, so this adapter, you're going to call it what? A class of list adapter, and then a list basic adapter. Okay, list basic adapter, you can call it any name. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing you're going to do in that adapter, so that adapter is going to have items. Okay, so the items of what it will be displaying. So you're going to put here list, and then say items, and then say list of people. So it will be expecting a list of people. Okay, so that's the first thing, because it's going to display the data. So it will be expecting the data of people. Then the next thing, it's going to be expecting the list style. So list style is going to be the list user interfaces. Okay, so item style, so it's going to be like a single item. Okay, or a single item of a list. So this item tile, I already have it. Okay, I hope you have it too. So if I press Ctrl and I click on it, it's just a user interface that I created only one time, and you can use it to do what? To display different kind of items. I hope you have it. Okay, I hope you have it. Let me see where it is if I share this. Okay, we can create our own. Let's create a new one here. So the item tile is now the user interface itself. So going to be another list of items that's going to be displaying. Okay, so let's go ahead and create now the item tile here. Okay, so item tile is going to be now the user interface itself. Okay, So it's going to be a separate class here. It's going to be a stateless widget. So let's come here and press and create what we call stateless widget and call it what? Item tile. You know how to create a stateless widget. You just write stls, okay, and then press enter, then put the name of that. So it's going to be a stateless widget and it's going to be called item tile. Okay, so you see this is the item tile. So we have two classes, one for people that's coming from outside, and then we have a list of item tiles, which is this one, and it's going to be this one. Okay, so there are two classes here. So after doing that, so we are doing this thing one time, and then the rest of the classes maybe we'll be duplicating it so that we should not repeat ourselves. So be very attentive so that, and make sure that you understand. So we are here, we have created the list of item and also created the class of item tile. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a constructor. A constructor is a function that must be called when this list is what? Is initialized. Now the constructor must be having the same name the same name as a what? As a list. So in this constructor, I'm just going to say list tile. Okay, so list tile as you see here, and then an open bracket. So I put the things that must be provided to this adapter for the what? For the list, for this list adapter to display. So I say they must provide me the items. Okay, and then the next thing that they must provide me the click listener function, or the function that I should call when a user clicks on a what? On a single item. Okay, so we have to create now that function also. So we can come here and just simply write function and then put on click. Okay, so someone will be able to provide these two things in order to initialize this class. All right, so you can open curly bracket like this in case you want to do some things when this list item, when this list builder is created. So immediately when it is created. Okay, so after doing that, so we're going to put here some logic that will be done when it is created. So you see what I'm doing here, I'm just getting these items and I loop through them. So when I loop through them, I'm creating I'm putting the data into this items tile. Okay, so it's a place where let me repeat this again so you can understand. So this list basic adapter is a constructor. A constructor means a function that must be called when a class is being initiated. Okay, so if you want to do something immediately when that class is initiated, you open it here. So if you want someone to provide you, or whatever function that's going to call this one, to provide you with the content that you need in order that class to operate, you pass them through the what? Name of the constructor. Okay, so to create a constructor is just a function which has exact name as the what? As the class. So this constructor will be called immediately when this list is being created, or this adapter is being created. So in this adapter is being created immediately once you receive this data, I now need to create now the user interfaces. Remember, they have given us the data of items and they have given us the function that we should call when something is being clicked on. So I now need to create now the user interfaces that should be displayed on the screen. However, I'll show you another different algorithm that is less complex than this one in the next video, not like too much complex like this. Okay, so I want to do what? I want to go ahead and create the what? On click item. I want to create now the single item for this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do what? I'm going to loop. Okay, I'm going to loop through these items as I'm creating a list of what? Of widgets that I should be displayed. All right, so I'll go ahead and loop. So this is a loop. This is a loop of these items. Okay, I loop through them and then I say I++. Okay, so I can get the ID. Then I say items.add. So I'm adding this list tile. You know, this list tile is nothing but our user interface. Okay, it is nothing but the user interface that is going to display the data. So I'll pass the index or the item the index or the position where that item is, and I also pass the object, which is the items, and I pass the item, it's the item position. Okay, so this is the object or the data object, and then I also pass on click listener. Now you see I'm calling this constructor. It is giving me a warning. Why? Because in this list style we just created it, we did not put a constructor. So I'm going to give it a constructor that is going to accept the index, going to accept the object, which is the item that should be displayed, a single item, and also it's going to accept the what? The on click listener. So it's the constructor that we must put here. But you see this constructor that we put here, it does not accept anything. That's why you're seeing the what? The warnings. So we're going to come here to our user interface here, and then we put that constructor that's going to accept those things. So you see the first thing that's going to accept, okay, so this item or single item, it is going to need what? An object that is going to display, or a single object that should be displaying, which is going to be a class of what? Of people. Okay, and then it's going to need the index, okay, so that we should be able to know where someone really clicked. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and put here another variable here called index, and then after I'm going to put a function. So this function is a way how you can pass function into another what? Into another function. Okay, so we are going to accept an object of a person. I'm going to accept the index. I'm going to accept the what? The function of on click. So I'll call this function on click when someone clicks on it, or when someone clicks on an item. All right. Okay. So after doing that, let's go now ahead and create the constructor of this particular what? Of this particular class, of this particular item tile. The one that will be called immediately when it is being created. Okay. So our constructor is going just to accept the index. So I can just simply put this that index. So this index will be initialized automatically. Okay, so if you want to make them in form of the names, to accept the names, so you can just simply put here curly bracket. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to accept is the key. So you go ahead and put something like this, key, and then key. Then go ahead and put required. So the first thing that's going to require is going to require the what? The index. Okay, so I put this dot what? Dot index. So the item position, it's going to require this dot what? Dot object, and then this dot what? Dot on required this dot what? Dot on click method. All right, so that is the constructor of this particular user interface. Okay, this is the constructor of this particular user interface. All right, so here I can just simply return text this build. Maybe I can say single item, and then I maybe pass here the what? The index. Okay, so it means that for someone to call this on build, he must provide this information. That's why you see here when I'm looping, I'm providing the index, I'm providing the object, I'm providing the on click. However, you can provide as many as possible, or you can even provide less. It's just up to you. So you can pause the video and see how I've designed that what? That adapter. That is the core skeleton of it. All right. So it means that this adapter at this point we can use it. So let's go ahead and just use it as the way it is. And now we'll come back and now we'll design this what? This interface. So to use it, we'll just simply copy the name, list basic adapter, and then we go to our screen, which is this one. Okay, and then here we'll open the bracket. Okay, so you know what, this will import it, but now we know this will have to provide some data for it to do what? Operate. So we press cut and click. So the first thing that is going to accept is going to accept the items, and then on click function. Okay, so it's going to accept the what? The items. So of people, the list of people. So I'll first put this dot what? Dot items. Okay, that's the first thing that's going to accept. So the next thing is going to accept on click listener, the function. So you have to pass the function that should be called when someone clicks on what? When someone clicks on a single item. So we are going to create our function here that should be able to be called, that we can pass here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that function. Okay, So I'll just simply come and put this function here. I'll call this function on item click, and it's going to accept the index and also the object that the person has clicked on. Okay, it's going to accept the index. I call it on item click, just a function. On item click, it's going to accept the index and then the object. So in this function, when someone clicks on it, I create a toast. I hope you have this toast method in your utils class that I shared with you. If you don't have it, you can as well print, just put something in the console. Okay, so I'm going to just simply display the object.name, and then just to confirm that I can now access the item that someone has clicked on. So if I want, I can even navigate to the next page. So this is a good architecture that things are organized, everything is separate in its respective place. That is the on item click. So I'm going to come here and pass this on item click by putting this dot on item click. Just go ahead and remove this function. It can be open. Okay, and then after, I have to call .get view. Okay, .get view. So .get view is going to be our method now that is going to do what? To be responsible for getting back, for returning back the the content in the list. Okay, so I'll come and call it here, but you know you have not built it. Okay, I'll come and call it here, but you have not built it. So let's go ahead and build this. Okay, so we'll come here to our list adapter. We're going to add now one function here, a static function that is going to be responsible for merging the data and the widgets, and then return back the widget as a list builder. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that function. However, in the next video, in the next example, I'm going to show you the simple way how you can do this, though this one is the most organized way. Okay, so we're going to have here a function called get view. Okay, so this get view is going to return the container. It's going to return the container now here. That's going to display. Okay, it's going to return the container. Okay, now in this container is going to have a child, and that child is going to be now the list.builder. Okay, and I'm going to explain this. So go ahead and put a child of this container to be list.builder, which is going to take the context and then the index. Then it's going to take the item style. Okay, so this item tiles is this item that we have just built here, and then here we pass the items.count, the item style.count, so the number of tiles that we have here, and then put their length. Then you can put some padding. Okay, some padding around it. So this is the one now that's going to do the magic of merging the data with the user interface. So you can pause the video and see how it is. This is just nothing but a list a list builder. So now if you come here, let's keep anything. I imported the wrong list. Alright, so you see it is list basic adapter, then I pass the items, I pass the on click listener, and then say .get view. So when I save, you can see I'm able to get single item. So it means that we have successfully generated our list. But the point is we have not displayed any content there. Let me put my laptop on charge and resume. All right, so at this moment you can see that we have items there, but we have not displayed. So let's go ahead and design now this single item widget. Okay, this kind of widget on this item. All right, so where shall we define it? We'll find it in adapt, of course, on this here. Okay, so I'm going to change this one and now start putting the list item itself. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So I'll come here to our list builder, and then we design that items. Okay, so let's go ahead and design the item. The first thing that we're going to have inkwell. Okay, so that when someone clicks on it, you should be able to call the item. So let's go ahead and put inkwell. I've never started with inkwell. So it's going to have a child, and then it's going to have on tap listener. So when someone clicks on this item, I want now to call the function that we passed. Okay, so on tap listener, when someone clicks on it, I now call this on click. So I call on click, and then we pass the object. We pass the object that someone has clicked upon. We get it, eh? Okay. Just repetition. All right, just the same. Okay, so after doing that, now the next thing that we're going to do, we are designing this a single item. We just design a single item, then it will be possible for all. We're going to put padding for all. So let's go ahead and put padding. So padding is going to have padding symmetric of 5 from both sides, and then the child here is going to be a row. So let's go ahead and design a row. So are we putting the row? We are putting a row because this content, you can see it is 2. There is a picture here alongside the content next to it. Okay, so we are putting a row first, and then you put the cross axis alignment to start, and then the main axis to max. Okay, so let's go ahead and put those parameters to the row. So after doing that, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to put now the children of this row. So we're going to put the children. So the first child is going to push this image in front here, which is going to be just a container with width of 20. You can as well use a sized box. Okay, so when you save, you see everything is alright, but nothing is being displayed. Alright, so the next thing is now to display now the image. Okay, the image. So I'm going to copy this and explain it. Come and put it here. So you can see it is now this image, this one. So it's going to be container, and then I put circle image, and then I pass the image asset image, and I give it width of 50 and height of 50, and I save. So you see I'm able to get my pictures. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I hope you can see that. All right, so after doing that, we go ahead and now create a container that's going to separate this image from the next text. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So create a container that's going to separate this image from the next text. And remember, you do these things only one time, and you can implement them again and again in different kind of projects. All right, so after, we're going to put expanded. That's going to have the column, the remaining space. Okay, we're going to give the column the remaining space. So put here expanded. So that is very important. Otherwise, you'll see your things are crying as if because of the space, if you don't give it expanded. So the remaining space, I'm going to give it the column. So that's why I put the expanded. So now this is our column. We're giving it a column because we're going to have a name on top and the description in bottom. So the column, we're going to give a cross alignment of start, and then after, we're going to give now the content in that column. Okay, so the first content is going to be our name. So come here, children, and then the first content is going to be the name. So I'll go ahead and import this. Okay, so this is a style of a title, so you can style this name to a title. So go ahead and put the title style, and then put the font weight to normal. I've already explained this, how we import it. So if you save, you'll have at least the name there on top. Okay, you'll have the name there. That's beautiful. Then lastly, we go ahead and put the container that's going to separate that name from the description. All right, then after, we go ahead and put the text or the details, or a short lorem that's going to give now the details of that container. All right, so this is my string constants. Okay, just say a random lorem ipsum, then you'll have that container there. Then that's beautiful. Then after, we put some containers going to have 15 space. Okay, of height of 15. After that, the lorem ipsum, put a container of height 15, and then after we go ahead and put a divider that's going to divide that content from the next one. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a divider that's going to be a thin line and give it a height of 0. So when I save, you'll see I have that divider. Boom, you have such kind of a beautiful beautiful list, and that's how you can approach it step by step as I've shown you. I hope you've understood. I hope I was too fast, but if I'm too fast, you can pause the video. And follow along. So when I click on item, I'll be able to do what? To toast, but this emulator does not toast it. But you can put something in the console. You'll be able to see that you have clicked on what? On a certain item. Okay, so that is how you do what? That is how let me put here here on click. Let me just put this item in the console. So I just simply say print, and then I put the name. So if I come to the console and I click, right, something is not right. They're saying what here? Okay, you create a function. This one that is skipped. Click item, and then we'll be calling it, and then it will be passing the data. I think it's supposed to pass also the index. Okay, yeah. I think if you come here, if you see here in front, originally, sorry, if you come here to our list basic, our on click function, which is this one, it accepts the index and the people and the person object, but here we're passing only the person object, so we are doing it wrong. So we have to pass here index and the person object as it promised. So I hope here you should be able to do what? To get it. You see, I'm able to get it. So you see, that is it. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you can pause the video and go step by step in order to understand this. All right, that's it for this session. We are going to have a break of 5 minutes, of 6 minutes. So exactly at exactly at 9 p.m. Exactly at 9 p.m. we should be back for the next session. Let's go have and have a short rest, and we meet at exactly 9 for the next session. I hope you've learned how to create such kind of a beautiful user interface of a list, a dynamic list. All right, let's meet in the next session. Exactly 9. So let's just have a short break, and then at 9 we should be back. On 11th,